Hello and welcome to Ideagen TV. Today we have an exciting power panel led by Esteban Olivares, the Director of Educational Development and University Partnerships at Summer Discovery. Esteban, welcome.
Everyone, I'm Esteban Olivares, Director of University Partnerships at Summer Discovery. And today we have Halley Campbell, our Relationships Manager, and Michael Chen, our country director from China. And we're going to be talking about how Summer Discovery, pivoted during the pandemic and what we did this past year and what we learned. And we're going to share some of our insights. So Halley and Michael, if you want to introduce yourselves and tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure, I'm Halley Campbell. As he mentioned, I'm our relationship manager here at Summer Discovery for our school partners and associations that we're involved with. And I also have the pleasure of directing our London program over the summer.
Hi, everyone. This is Michael speaking from South China. I'm the China country director for Summer Discovery. I joined the company for almost 2 years by now. Before that, I have about 10 years experience in international education, recruiting students from China area and send them to places like the US, the UK, and Australia. So I'm really glad that I'm here today.
Thank you both for being here. One of the big picture things that we're talking about today is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And, they build a framework to have a sustainable world for all the global citizens by 2030. And one big piece of that is education. And Summer Discovery, works in the pre-college space, providing that college experience for high school students. Michael, if you can start us off, why is it so important that diversity and that voice of international students is part of that experience?
Thanks for the question. I think I would like to answer that from two aspects. One is that I think the sustainable development strategy from the United Nations is a key thing for our generation and the next generation. When I'm talking about the next generation, I'm talking about the students who is coming to the US or UK to study internationally and then be part of the Summer Discovery family. China, as one example, is one big piece of this goal. And also, I think we just announced that, for example, we want to peak our carbon emission by 2030. The other goal is that we want to be carbon neutral by 2060. Both are very ambitious, and I don't think any country can do this alone. We need collaboration from all partners around the world. And I think our students will be the key player in the future to achieve these goals. So that's one of the aspects. I think Summer Discovery can help here, that our students can smoothly transform themselves from a very different education background into the much more international, diverse education in the US. What I call it is a soft landing and a cushion of protection before they go to university and take their degrees. So that's my basic understanding, and that's why I think it's really critical and important that Summer Discovery can help these international students, not only from China, but all the other parts of the world. I believe they are facing the same kind of cultural shock difficulties, understanding of academic rigors, all that kind of same issues when they are transferring from one country to another to do study. So yeah, that's my understanding.
Yeah, and I think I can echo that and Michael's point of view as well. At Summer Discovery, that's something that we've always prided ourselves on. We love to welcome our international students and students from all over the world because it creates an amazing environment for students to start to gain a global perspective. I think as they're in the classroom, a student when they're in high school, they may only be surrounded with the peers in their same zip code or their same community or school district. Giving them an opportunity to meet with other peers from around the world in different walks of life is truly representative of the college experience. And I think that's really what we aim to do here at Summer Discovery is taking students as young as elementary school and middle school, and giving them that opportunity to experience their peers from around the world.
Yeah, I think it's very important to have that voice of differences and opinions in the same classroom, so everyone's learning from each other. That's great. Halley, summer discovery is not just in the United States, has that global imprint. Michael is in China. We have partners all around the world, but we also have programs and global programs, international programs. Why are these international programs so important?
Yeah, so Summer Discovery has programs all across the US, 2 programs in the UK, and a program in Singapore. And I think that that's extremely important to give students of different interests the opportunity to explore their areas of interest. So in the UK, we partner with Cambridge University, which is one of our oldest partnerships that we're extremely proud of. We also have a new relationship with the Holt International Business School in London, which they particularly have satellite campuses all across the world, which is exciting for students to gain exposure to that type of mentality and teaching. And I think it gives students the opportunity to experience studying abroad. So obviously we think of international students coming to the US to study abroad, and our domestic students here, visiting the UK and also Yale and US and Singapore. I think it also gives them that independence. So wherever they're coming from, they're stepping out of their comfort zone and stepping away from their parents, whether it's a plane ride away, our car ride, or a time zone away. They're able to start to experience life on their own, as Michael said, with that comfortable safety and supervision from Summer Discovery, and start to gain some independence. And I think that truly will help them when they head off to university and maybe are faced with a decision if they want to take a semester abroad or take an internship in another country. They will have that confidence in order to make that decision, that they've had that experience and were able to do and navigate those waters and be successful.
I can't agree more. I think I just want to add a little bit things. I think especially for the kids from Asia, when we were young, we were so protected in the family, and the way of growing up is perhaps different from, especially from the West. So I think it's a good thing for them to go abroad, especially to the US or UK, and then try a different way of life, and then there was a bubble around us, and then we need to break that bubble and to be part of the entire international environment. So go back to my first point, that's a softer landing and cushion of protection that they needed for perhaps a shorter period of time before they can fully integrate it into a different but more diverse environment. So I think Summer Discovery can really help there.
Yeah, I think it's great when students can expand their horizons, and when U.S. students are traveling overseas, or a student that's not from the UK is in the UK, they're all international students, and so they all kind of push those comfort zones and learn a lot. Halley, we got a lot of good buzzwords from 2020, Zoom and the new normal, masking up, distance learning. And one of them is pivot. And we all had to pivot during the pandemic. All companies did, all organizations. Can you tell us a little bit about Summer Discovery's experience and what Summer Discovery did?
Yeah, Summer Discovery honestly made me very proud, having worked for the organization for over 8 seasons, as we say it, where our typical motto is, recruit students, get them excited about the summer, spend time with them on campus. When we were faced in March with a different kind of atmosphere, that was what would be for most companies a challenging thought to think of. But I think I'm incredibly proud of how swiftly and succinctly we acted as a team. I think we owe our fast pivot, per se, to our team in itself, that be our team internally, but also our university partners. We work so closely with them. And I think that was a pivotal relationship that we've had and grown throughout many years, that we were able to work together and come up with an amazing new opportunity for students in Summer Discovery Online. So it was super positive last year. A lot of students, were relieved and happy that, they were still able to pursue opportunities in education as we provided them in our online platform. And I think it's exciting to see that that's now going to be incorporated in our everyday. We offer online opportunities now in the spring and in the summer to meet students where they're at, whether it be they're able to travel over the summer or maybe their schedule doesn't permit, or they're concerned about issues, whether it be traveling or things like that. We always have that same opportunity for students. And I think that that's what's most important. We all have the same mission in providing educational opportunities for students where they are and in whatever environment they're in.
And what kind of supports are provided to the international students in all of our programs and all of our delivery?
Sure. So that's also very important to us, providing support to international students throughout the year, but as well as support on campus. Obviously, prior to the program, we want to make sure students are equipped with the materials that they need to go through immigration if that's necessary, whether it be letters of introduction or international health insurance. We want to make sure students feel safe and equipped to feel comfortable on campus with us, either here in the US or abroad. We've also made a distinct effort, even prior to the pandemic, to really meet students and families in their time that works best for them. So we've adapted our call times. So we're there and supporting students both in early morning hours and late evening hours to be able to facilitate any questions from families or students that works best for them. So they're able to reach us and better understand our programs from a firsthand point of view, one-on-one. And obviously, Michael Chen is a prime example of opportunities for our students. He's on the ground in China to support our students and partners. So I'm sure he could speak to that as well.
I think talking about support, that's one key thing that Summer Discovery is doing really good. And that's perhaps one of the first thing that the Asian Chinese parents think about. I was there in the US during the 2019 orientation. I think it was in July. And I was like really impressed and surprised by the level of support that Summer Discovery provided to our students from all around the world and from US itself. I mean, the safety measures and the care that our RCs provided to the students is let me use the word, it's beyond my imagination, it's beyond my expectation as someone from Asia that has been, parents here providing total care to their kids. So when I came back from that trip and when I shared my feeling and my observation of how Summer Discovery supported the students in terms of academic success and safety and daily life, our agents, our channels, and our parents in China are actually very surprised that, oh my goodness, you are providing support that is beyond our imagination. It's more than what we wanted. So that's the feedback I got from my market, which totally support what Halley just said.
Yeah, I think that's something families are looking for and want to ensure that the students, with their students, their children are being looked out for. As we prepare to, go back to campus and a lot of, educational institutions and high schools and pre-college programs and universities, are preparing for that next phase and going back to campus. Halley, what are some of the steps that Summer Discovery is taking organizationally to prepare for that health and safety students on the setting?
Definitely. Well, as Michael mentioned as well, health and safety is obviously at the forefront and has always been a number one priority for us, for our students, and having them on campus. We're taking care of other people's children. So we obviously take that responsibility very, very seriously. And with all of the new challenges that we faced, we decided we're going to develop a full team, an internal task force to monitor the COVID situation. Obviously, we have campuses across the world, so that means different circumstances across the board. So that's a lot to take on. We wanted to make sure that we're monitoring that closely. And I think meeting and taking the advice of our university partners, we're meeting with them frequently to better understand their needs and what they require for our students on campus to make sure that we're compliant and, most importantly, make sure that students are safe and feel safe. I had mentioned we're also continuing to offer online. We understand that the CDC can have a recommendation, but we want to meet students and families with their comfort levels. So we have opportunities for students both spring and summer online, as well as our on-campus options. So great opportunities across the board to continue to make sure students feel safe.
One of the exciting things about having a global imprint and being part of an organization that has partners globally is, we get to travel, we get to, attend different conferences, or, actually go to different schools, and maintain those relationships internationally, but through travel. But of course, post-pandemic, we had to reimagine and do things in a different way. So Michael, if you can tell us a little bit, how did we kind of reimagine that engagement with our partners internationally?
So I think, generally speaking, the relationship between myself and our partners here in this part of the world is getting stronger. That is something actually out of my imagination at the beginning of the pandemic, because we were thinking that, we're locked at home and we sort of lost contact with our channels partners. So how do we pick them up once the pandemic is over? But things were going in a way that is different from my imagination in the beginning. So basically, when you're quarantined at home, when you're separated from the other people, I think we generally have the feeling that we want to connect more through different ways. So we all know that the internet is very advanced everywhere, and we have different apps to stay connected with people. So people are actively thinking, how do we use the existing chatting apps and other meeting apps to stay more connected? So in the beginning of the pandemic, we start to line up online trainings through Zoom or other Chinese softwares like Tencent Meeting, which can host like 500 people all together. And I have a feeling that our partners here in this part of the world are more eager to listen to each other and to share experience when they are at home, which is amazing. Now in this part of the world, I think everything is sort of under control. So we are going back to the society, and we start to go back to meetings and events and seminars, and we start to meet people, face to face. I just attended a large conference in the last 2 months, in October and November, in the end of 2020. And I have a feeling that when people came back out again in the society and meeting each other face to face again, we really cherish the opportunity after the pandemic that we can see each other face to face. And people value that opportunity, and it's just become more efficient when we talk face to face. And then we are using the two kind of communication tools, combined. So when we have opportunity to meet face to face, we pay more attention to what the other people speaks and try to express. And then afterwards, we can immediately use those online tools to line up more meetings and more in-detailed trainings and support events. So our agents, our partner, and our schools here in China are having multiple channels to get information from summer discovery through myself, and have much better understanding of our program. So that's my takeaway of the communication before, during, and after the pandemic, which is really interesting and amazing.
Yeah, I think too, as Michael said, this is a really important time to support our colleagues. And I think that we've really shown, our relationships have grown stronger than ever almost. We're all navigating this together. So obviously we've made it a point to attend conferences like ISCA, the International School Counselor Association Conference, NACAC, CIS. We have the common goal of supporting our students. So we need to keep up the chatter. We need to continue to provide insight to one another as we all navigate this together. What's happening in Turkey or the UAE could be different than the US. So we need to continue to keep up the conversation. I think everybody's stepped up to the plate and has been able to serve as a resource for one another during this time, which is very positive to see across the industry.
Definitely. As a parent myself, I also enjoyed going to, a fair and, talking with somebody from a program, and, what's going to happen, what is my child's experience going to be like? So how did recruitment change and that engagement with students and families?
is that for me or Halley?
Yeah, Michael, yeah.
Okay. I think I have to use my imagination, which is a great opportunity for me to think outside of the box. Because in the past, when you're in front of a bunch of students, it's natural that you can demonstrate, you can show them things, but if it's online, it's harder. So we have to develop different tools that allow us to, visualize the summer discovery products and programs in front of our agents and students through online, like videos, photos. I have to rearrange all the, about 2,000 pieces of photos that I took during my visit to Summer Discovery in July 2019 and try to strain them up into some kind of order that our students can understand, oh, this is how I arrive in LAX. And then this is how Summer Discovery transport me from the airport to the beautiful campus and put me into the summit in UCLA. And then this is how my daily classroom looks like with all the American students and students from the other part of the world. So we don't have to do that in the past, but now we have to do it online. But I think think positively. That's an opportunity never before that we can imagine and do something different, and then still have the same or even better result, giving the student an impression how their life looks like during that 3 to 6 weeks here in the US or UK or Singapore. And then I think they feel like more interested, then they are more eager to go abroad than ever before.
I think he's right too, and we've all gotten very equipped with webinars and Zoom and trying to be as excited. I know that's something that we love at Summer Discovery when we're recruiting internationally, is to meet the students in their schools, visit with the counselors, sit down with them and walk through our programs. But it looks a little bit different this year. As you mentioned, we typically have a full itinerary of countries that we visit and states that we attend to. So it has been different. I think that's where we rely on those relationships that we've built over the past 40 years with our, as Michael has mentioned, educational partners, our school counselors. They're really the advocates on the ground to explain, what we offer and offer opportunities that alumni have gone through and anecdotal information that they have from their students that have attended our programs in the past to be able to share those experiences. And we do rely on our alumni students to speak with students so they can get a better understanding from a student perspective what that looks like over the summer. But yes, it certainly is different.
And Michael just painted a really interesting story of trying to show that support the students receive on campus through kind of pictures. Halley, can you tell us a little bit about what is that support that students receive and why is that so important to Summer Discovery?
Sure. I think that the support we provide students on campus is the same support that we provide them throughout the application and admissions process. We want families and students to really understand exactly what they have on campus, whether that be the resources that we have from our diverse dynamic leadership team. We have an amazing pool of directors that visit us and join our programs to support us year after year. Typically, they have an average of 15 years experience, so they're coming to us. Typically, they're teachers throughout the year. We also have a dynamic resident counselor group. So our resident counselors are there to support the students on a day-to-day 24/7 basis. They want to make sure that students are happy and healthy on campus and engaging in all the programs and activities that we have to offer. But we really want to be that point person from the moment the student either leaves the parents' arms, if they're driving from campus and dropping them off, or if they're flying to meet us, we're at the airport there to pick them up and meet them on the other side of immigration and make sure that they're continuing to have fun over the summer. I think I'm biased because I get to see the students on campus over the summer. And I think for us, it's almost more about the support we give them as an individual. It's not just all the forms and the health information that we're learning or who's visiting them on campus or the travel and itinerary that they provide us prior to campus, but it's making sure that they, not only from an educational standpoint, are supported, but their growth as an individual is supported. So it's seeing them learn how to navigate the social side of things or the different opportunities that arise and seeing them grow as individuals.
They learn to be resilient. And on that theme of resiliency, there's also growth involved with that. And in the face of adversity and the pandemic and seeing different organizations experiencing different things. Summer Discovery has grown, and so I know there's some exciting news about a recent acquisition. Halley, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we are thrilled to announce the recent acquisition of SIG. They are the Summer Institute for the Gifted. They're really the leaders in providing students experiences for students in the gifted and talented arena, from elementary school through high school. And I think it's truly a testament to Summer Discovery that during this time, we're able to be resilient and have a growth mindset and see a peer in the industry and be able to breathe new life into them and acquire them as part of the Summer Discovery family. And we're certainly excited for the new dynamic that they'll bring and the opportunities that will arise for a unique group of students to join us on a SIG program.
No, I think that's very exciting.
I just wish to add something to what Halley just mentioned about support and how important it is, especially for international kids. I remember when I was showing the video that I took in LAX, when I arrived, there are 7 terminals in that airport. And then once you're out of the airport, you have to look for the sign of Uber and Lyft and try to get the taxi driver, which speaking a different language, and then go to the university by myself. So that's how I get there. But of course, I'm fine with it because I'm an international traveler. But I can see the expression on the parents' face when I was showing them this video, because they are thinking, oh my goodness, is my son or daughter, which is under 18, speaking a different language, first time going abroad, have to go through this by him or herself? So that's the question. And I'm glad that you guys asked this question, because no, your kid is not going to go through this. They are going to learn and grow and to be more independent, but under a very protective way. So they are going to be protected by Summer Discovery. We will have our staff meeting your kids in the airport and tell them how to go through this. They don't have to do this alone. And then after the explanation, I can see the change of expression on the parent's face, which is, give me a sense of success when I'm trying to demonstrate the difference between serviced and unserviced. So I think that's one example why the support that we provided is essential and very useful and very welcomed by the market here.
I love that story, Michael, too. And I love to bring up situations like that all the time. And it comes naturally to associates at Summer Discovery, to all of our directors. We're here for the students. In our program in London, in the UK, I actually had one of our associate directors for our Cambridge program. We had a student that was coming from one country and had a layover in Madrid and put the wrong contact information of who was supposed to meet them on the other side because they were a minor. So obviously, as a parent, when you get a phone call from your student and they're in another country where they're not supposed to be stuck, our associate director actually got on a flight from the UK to Madrid to meet the student at immigration and escort them specifically to campus. So that's just another example of, we're going to meet your students. We're excited to have them on campus or online. So we're going to make sure that we get them where they need to be and make sure that they're supported.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Such a touching story.
It is. And I know, as a parent who had a child on Summer Discovery programs, it was the first time my son traveled on his own to UCLA. And I felt so comfortable with Summer Discovery taking that on and meeting him. And he was just happy to be out the door. So last summer, Summer Discovery partnered with Ideagen. And one of the class that Ideagen offered was the Future Global Leaders Academy. And this class, focused on the Sustainable Development Goals, focused on working with students to solve real world problems and kind of give them those tools to, be leaders. Why are programs where learning is experiential and students are, able to solve real world problems and really dive into a subject matter so important, and why are they so important that they happen in summer?
Sure. Yeah, I think the Future Global Leaders Academy was an amazing opportunity for students to to really start to equip themselves with the mindset to be pragmatic. Obviously, there's new sustainable development goals each year, which means we have new challenges and problems each year. And, I'm relying hopefully on them to be the group of students that really take us to the next level and start to solve these problems. And I think it was a very unique and humbling experience for a lot of them to recognize that their global peers are going through this. This isn't a simulation. This is a real world issue that they put their minds to and were able to come up with some amazing ideas. I actually got to look at a recommendation from the supervisor of the program to one of our students, and it's amazing to see in that short period of time how he was able to understand this particular student's growth, and it actually impacted what they wanted to do in the future. She wanted to set up her own lab and study the inequities in different things. So it was great to see that students were able to start to think that way and change their mindset and be positive and bring light to a new and sometimes challenging situation.
I think that was a great program. I had a couple of students attended the Ideagen during the summer online. And I think the key word for this program will be leadership and understanding. I mean, that's my understanding of that program. To be a leader for the future, you have to be able to understand different situations in different part of the world, not just from the aspect of yourself. And then I think, especially during the pandemic, there's a lack of channels that people can communicate. So I actually interviewed one of my students who attended this program, and then I have some takeaways here. So basically, here in China, we have these carbon emission goals and pollution problems to tackle, and then still the country wants to maintain a very strong manufacturing industry. So our problem will be how to balance these different concerns to make things sustainable. But when my students attended the class and talking and meeting with students from other part of the world, they start to understand that each country have their own different concerns because we are at different stage of development. Some countries are concerning about bring jobs back to the country. Some other countries are concerning about how to protect their rainforests and rivers and the natural resources. Not to be overused. So I think it's a good opportunity for the students, for the future leaders to share their concerns and start to understand, okay, so we don't hate each other. We are just at different stage. So we need to have mutual understanding, and then we can, co-evolve, and sometimes we have to compromise. So I think that's the value that the Ideagen program brings to students from different part of the world at different development stage. So I think the key value is that our next generation have that kind of mutual understanding, we are different, but we are here for one goal. I think that's the key value for that program, and that's why I'm a big supporter for that program to continue.
Great. I think if I was able to do high school over again, I would definitely want to do the Future Global Leaders Academy. Definitely, it speaks to me and some of my values. So, Halley, if you were to do high school over again and was able to do a pre-college program through Summer Discovery, what's one of the programs that you would do?
I think this is the toughest question, and I think Michael will have a challenge with this too. We have over 300 different course options. So I think every week I change my tune of what I think would be best suited. But I think given the opportunity, I was a fashion major in college. So I think I would, instead of taking a fashion class, I think I would branch out. I love all of our psychology courses. So criminal psychology, I'm a true crime junkie. So I think criminal psychology would have been really interesting to learn more about forensics and also the psychology side of things behind it at UCLA would have been awesome.
That's very interesting that Halley mentioned psychology, because that was one of my options too. But since you have mentioned psychology, I'm going to try something different. If I were to go back to high school and do a summer program, I think I'd like to pick up the community service from UCLA. Like you just mentioned, that we have more than 300 different programs from, humanities to fashion designs to marketing, business, and STEMs. They are very different, and they covered actually like most of the subjects that students is going to choose for their degree program in 1 or 2 years' time. So we prepare them. However, I think community service have a different value. It's not academic, but it's going to help you greatly to sort of understand how the United States works in terms of, community service. How do we serve veterans? How do we serve aged people? How do we serve disabled people? I mean, each country have a different system of caring these people, but in a very different way. So I would like our students to take part in that 2-week community service, so they can, have the opportunity to sort of walk away from the regular classroom and the regular sort of a teacher-student kind of relationship, and really get into the day-to-day life of American, average people, and try to be there, try to, stay side by side with different sort of people in the society, and then have a true understanding of how a different country works. I think to some extent that will be more valuable comparing with attending another academic classes that they have gone through for the previous 12 years in their life. So that's one subject that I really want to take part in myself and introduce to my students here.
Wonderful.
I was going to say, I think lucky for our students, they don't have to choose just one course. They can diversify and get to experience all of those things, which is amazing.
Agree. And I think, Michael, giving that example of the service learning and the service component piece is so important. If I think back from this past year, if I could sum it up in one word, it would be community, and giving back. So Halley and Michael, if you could sum up 2020 one word or a few, what would you say?
Sure. Yeah, I think proactive. I think summer discovery, and as a world, we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think we've drawn closer together in light of this shared experience that, hopefully we'll look back on it together and think about how resilient we were. And I think I'm super proud of an organization that chose to be positive and amplify that positivity during this time. I mean, we were able to support a fellow business, create an amazing experience for students online, and look forward to continue to offer that. So I think that that's proactivity, and being proactive is something that's great in a dark world.
I think that's a great point, to be proactive. I think 2020 is so different and so strange in a way that we never experienced it before. It's something new that is sort of out of our control, but we have to face it. So if I'm going to pick a word for 2020, I would say connection. Because 2020 is, during a pandemic. We had pandemic before in the 19th century or even earlier. However, world was very different at that time. Each continent and each country, we are perhaps a lot more disconnected at that time. So the willingness, the desire to reconnect wasn't that strong, but it's 2020. People are comfortable with communicating and connecting, but suddenly you are disconnected. So I think people want to be more connected in the future after what we have experienced in 2020. And I think for the last 1 hour, we have been talking about different ways to connect people when you are staying alone at home. So I think connection is the word that I want to sum up 2020. And I think we are doing pretty good on like a reconnection and finding new ways to connect people. And I think we have to continue to do so because it's not over yet. We have different stage of pandemic in different area of the world. So we still have to think about new ways to stay connected. I think the online program developed by Ideagen and Summer Discovery and our other partner universities is actually a new way to stay connected with our students, to make the student connected with the academic world in different part of the world. So if they cannot travel, they can still continue their study online to stay connected. They don't have to disconnect themselves from their progress and growing. So that's the word that I pick for 2020, connection.
That's great. That's great. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to for 2021 is that connection with students wherever we meet them and being proactive and building that community, and growing. And I'm looking forward to working with the two of you, working with Summer Discovery, our partnerships with Ideagen and all our university partners, and really looking forward to what's possible in 2021. So thank you guys for sharing what we've learned, and looking forward to the next year. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Esteban. Thank you, Halley.
Yeah, thank you for having us.